सुरनायक जन सुखदायक प्रणतपाल भगवंता गोविज हितकारी जय असुरारी सिंधु सुता प्रिय कंता पालन सुर धरनी अद्भुत करनी मरम न जानई कोई जो सहज कृपाला दीन दयाला करहु अनुग्रह सोई करहु अनुग्रह सोई जय जय अविनाशी सब घटवासी व्यापक परमानंदा अभिगत गोपीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि रागी विरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निशिबासर द्यावहि गुणगण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा जेहि सृष्टि उपाई त्रिविध बनाई संग सहाय न दूजा सो करहु हमारी चिंता हमारी जानिय भगति न पूजा जो भव भय भंजन मुनि मन रंजन गंजन विपति बरूथा मन वच क्रम बानी छाड़ी सयानी शरण सकल सुर जूथा शरण सकल सुर जूथा सारद श्रुति शेषा विषय शेषा जा कहूँ कोई न जाना जीवीर पियारे वेद पुकारे प्रभु श्री भगवाना भववारिधि मंदर सब विधि सुंदर गुण मंदिर सुख पुंजा मुनि सिद्ध सकल सुर परम भयातुर नमत नाथ पद कंजा नमत नाथ पद कंजा जय जय अविनाशी सब घटवासी व्यापक परमानंदा अविगत गोपीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि रागी विरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निशिबासर द्यावहि गुणगण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा।
अच्छा, this for, or for at least for the Zoom we need.
Just this idea that I have to do the prayer, I have to remember God, can that itself be oppressive or get in the way of actually doing it?
I have to do the prayer. Does it lead to prayer or does it lead to what?
It leads to unenjoyable prayer.
Unenjoyable prayer. Unenjoyable prayer. If you don't follow that, let's suppose for a moment that we let go of the pointer itself. So then what would you usually do?
To Today it kind of felt, I was doing the prayer only without, it wasn't so heavy.
Yeah. At which point don't we need the pointer? So let's step back a little bit and then focus on this question again. So, God's presence is a reality in our heart, and that presence then is like the core, the central part of the temple inside of us, inside our heart. You see? Now, that presence, that beingness, that Atma is the very I am that I am. Yet, in the play of this world, from within that I am, you see, there emerges an identity of me being this body mind, me being something. It's still dependent on this I amness, and yet it seems to have acquired now a distance. You see? So, this one, the best use of this one is to have it turned back inwards towards God's presence. You see? And nobody can say that in my case this one doesn't exist, because even the one who's saying that is that one. In my case, that my. So now the way back is through the process of bhakti, the process of devotion, love for God and service to God, and through the process of inquiring into the true nature of who I am, because that leads back to the I amness itself. The my part is not there anymore. The mine part is not there anymore. Now, if this I am somethingness makes for itself a set of ideas which prevent it from looking inwards, you see, then what should be done with those ideas? They should be discarded, no matter how logical or rational or intellectual they sound. Our job is to keep turning back and remain in that presence. So, in that, we don't have to worry about anything else, whether feeling or whether thought or conclusion. You see? Now, in that context, put yourself in that construct. You see? So, if you're looking at the prayer path, then you're saying that I am whatever is left of me, that I am something. I just wanted to be a servant in God's temple, at best a priest in God's temple. You see? Now, if the priest in God's temple says, I don't want to pray, then what would you tell the priest? But I'm not enjoying it. It's more enjoyable when I don't feel like I have to. What if I could just come as a visitor and somebody else could be the priest? Then I pray more. That is the conundrum you're presenting, isn't it? So, you notice the good strategy the mind has made, so it blocks you from actually the simplicity of just praying or just being with God's presence.
Like, I'm also noticing how it's so deeply conditioned. For so many years, I've been like, everything I do, I only do if I enjoy it. Many years. It's been like very. And now it's.
And nobody has ever said that either a jnani or a bhakta has ever said that it's always been enjoyable for us. If it doesn't feel like our throat is being squeezed from time to time, then we are doing something wrong. You see? Because this ego conditioning works like that. You see? Then when we encounter it, we say, like in your case, oh, enjoyment also is a notion that I must be free from. Yes. You see? Because all of these notions just add to our persona, the separation, the seeming identity of I am something. You see? So that I am somethingness to be turned back to the Atma within, to the presence of God within ourselves, is the very process of spirituality, because it is about spirit then. You see? Now, what is the tool you're using for turning? Is it who am I? We can say that if it was who am I, we can say it's a beautiful tool because it really gets us to look within ourselves more than perception can ever take us. And when we are praying, we are asking for God's grace, for God's mercy, because only in His grace, in His mercy can we encounter that unperceivable reality of His presence within ourselves. So the job is like that. You sit in inward facing towards God using a tool or without a tool. But our job is to be with Him constantly. So being present to God's presence. And don't worry about how much of what feeling is there, how much of what anything is there. But don't let any idea take you away from that. So if you say, I want zero instruction, but I'm going to, truly I've checked the whole day today, I was just in God's presence. Then stay like that. You see? Or if you say that I need that constant reminder, to remind myself to pray, then do that. But there is no space then when we have turned inwards, then there is no space for guilt, pride, despair. None of that is important. You're just a priest at the temple. You're just sitting and praying to God. And with some of the children I was sharing that how to deal with the world then. Have you seen in India how the priests at the temple are? You've seen? You see? They'll get something, the priest will keep going. The japa will keep happening. Will do. And then just give it back to you. So whatever the world presents, we offer it up to God and allow the returning to happen. So the priest also knows what is being offered, how much of that is to be returned, whether something has to be added or the whole thing has to be kept. The priest knows. So like that. How you interact with the world is don't take any of the offerings of the world as if they are for you. Whether you call them good or bad, it's none of your business. You offer it to God's presence in your heart, and if there's a reciprocation from there, something arises in terms of words or action from there, then you send that back out. Then it makes life very simple. You don't have to apply your intellect. You don't have to apply your knowledge. You don't have to think about left or right. Is it really simple? Okay. So the mind will try everything to try and prevent you from turning this way. And it presents its case in very rational ways. Okay. And when it presents its case in very rational ways, just go back to what is this really about? You see, what is this really about? And if it becomes about God instead of me, then we are back on track. So Maya is Main Aya, isn't it? So it's all about me. Spirituality is all about God's presence, God's light. So if I'm turned inwards, but I'm not enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more in the world and when I'm enjoying my social activities or something like that. You see? then enjoyment is not important. I don't feel like a temple priest enjoys their job every day. I hope they do, but I don't know whether they do. So are you ready to just devote your life to being a priest in God's temple, and that temple is in your heart? Okay? And anything else that you want will only get in the way. You happy like that? To sit in front of God and just, if the world appears, then just your job is to accept, offer to God, take what God gives back. You don't have any independent will. You're just a servant. Scary, oppressive, yeah? That's your whole job. To take from the world. That's all. That's all. Okay? What gets in the way of a sacrifice of our will is only our pride. And this pride is not small, because it is saying that I know better than God does, or I can do better than God can. So every interaction in the world, we have to slow down. Initially it will seem like we slow down. We take our time, we offer it to God, because everybody has a chance to become a devotee, to offer their prayers at the temple. Okay? So somebody comes, they shout at you, da, 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 like that. Huh? So you have to make sure that you're not getting caught up in that. Remember that you're just a priest. So you take that, you offer it to God, saying, this is what this one has brought. Guide me, help me with what you want to give back to them. Initially, like you're saying, it may take some reminding ourselves, and that reminding may seem oppressive, but soon it becomes very natural, simplest way to live. Okay? Now, some of you may say that, what if God's presence is not palpable for me yet? Can I still do this? Yes, you can. God is with you. You may not yet experience that, but that needs faith to remember that He is with you. And you see how your life will change. Just have this faith and allow yourself to move in this way, live in this way. Your old way of life will soon be unrecognizable. You see? And that is how your sharing of God's light will start. By your being in it, fully immersed in it. That is when it can start. And the sharing doesn't have to be on a stage, on a pedestal. Just in day-to-day interactions to begin with. And then grace can take its own course. Somebody comes to meet you, who darshan you want them to get? Somebody comes to spend time with you, whose darshan do you want them to get? The darshan of the me or the darshan of God? It seems very simple to say, but if you can really check on this, then all your pride, all your specialness will start to fall away. And that is the work in progress here as well. And I know it's going to be a lifetime project, but I don't want you to come and meet Ananta. It is not important, or it should not be important, I'll get there, that if you have a meeting in Satsang and you fall deeply in love with God, but you feel Ananta is mud, then I'm very happy. I should be very happy. I'm not yet there. That is what I'm working on. Yeah? Yes. So, all of us have these masks, isn't it? How we interact with the world, all the conditioning that we built up based on what we've learned from the world. And that comes in the way of every interaction. Even in this interaction, I can sense that I'm not fully like empty, I'm not fully innocent, I'm not fully naked in this engagement. So the attempt is to, in every word that is said, in every moment that is spent together, can you be brought to His light? Can everything flow from Him and be moved by Him, so that His presence can be felt in your intuitive center, in your heart? And what God gets in the way is only this Ananta, this conditioning, this conditioned one. So what I was saying is that if we could have satsangs where in every satsang, in every interaction, you fall deeply in love with God, in His presence, and as a result of that, or as a byproduct of that, if you feel like Ananta is just mud, is just waste, then I should be okay with that. So I feel like I'm almost okay, but not fully, and I don't know whether that fully will go or it won't go. Maybe it is 12 years of sharing satsang conditioning or what it is. So that's why we always have, on the way to becoming completely transparent, there are these Maya conditions, which want to make everything about you. So the mind says, oh, but they should recognize that Ananta is a good teacher. That's completely useless, hopeless. And I've seen that in the world we can get so caught up in this idea that many times spiritual teachers are only concerned about that. What do they take my name and form to be? That becomes the most important. So we have to not fall into these traps, because the only audience that is important is the audience of one. So if you went to a temple and you couldn't remember how Hanumanji's statue was, but you felt the priest was very good, then is the priest doing a good job? No, he's doing a terrible job. So the priest's job is just transparent. He should not even be seen. It should just be some hands which take the offering, because we are not yet able to offer directly. This is the transparent hands which take the offering, of our heart to God's presence, and allow the guidance to come from His presence to them. But pride wants to make us more and more opaque and not transparent. It wants to make us more and more seen, visible, and not transparent. And then what happens? The priest is no longer a priest. He's a messenger, a servant of Maya instead, in the garb of a priest. And that is very dangerous. See, why am I saying all of this? Because all of you are already sharing in some way with your friends and family, but you may share, you may spread the light far and wide. These things are important to remember. So the mind wants you to be many things, but it doesn't want you to be a transparent, unseen servant of God. The seen servant of God is very attractive. The unseen servant of God may not be that attractive. So what they see of this one, what they see of this man, may that be just the minimum that is needed for them to come to God. And may he be remembered also the minimum that is needed for the Sangha to come to God. So, if this is the presence I am, and I awareness is prior even to that, so this I awareness, this I am presence, and this I am something, this I am something is because of duality, desire, doership, the 3D ego as I called it. So that has to merge back into God's presence, and whatever remains of it must be kept turned towards God's presence and not towards the topics and the things of the world. And it's quite a pristine way to live, this mirror turned back on itself. And to clarify, what this voice that you're hearing, the one that is sharing these words, of course mixed with some contamination that Ananta's conditioning brings in, but really the attempt is to share transparently the presence and the guidance of the Holy Spirit, the Atma within. You see? So the Guru that you love is the one that is sitting in your heart. And as you fall more and more deeply in love with that, then your love for God also grows. And as your love for God grows, then the love for the Sadguru presence in your heart will also grow. It's the same thing. So, And as a byproduct of that, there may be some gratitude for the external form of the master, which is fine, which is very natural, but not at the cost of the love for God, the deepening in God's love.
How can it be a cost of deepening in love of God? Gratitude?
Yeah, it should not. Yes, that's a very good question. Thank you. So, his question is, how can the gratitude for the Guru or the external form of the master be at the cost of the love for God? When it becomes a sort of attachment, a sort of um, attachment, sense of grasping at the form of the master, and it all becomes about that, then that can really just get in the way. But it's actually the master's job to keep you on track, to tell you where to stop, where you have to focus inwards. So we actually, for you, don't have to worry about that. It is my job to help, or the master's job, whoever the master may be in that case, their job to keep that under check. When they start noticing that it's becoming like personal, it's becoming about individuals rather than love for God, then they have to find the right ways to keep you on the right track, because this life is short. It is going to get over any time. So if it becomes about people and bodies again, then it's a wasted opportunity again. That's what I was trying to convey. Once we remember that there's hardly any time in this life, 50 years. I was joking with my children that half a century has gone of this life, and they were saying that you're that old. Half a century has gone. It seems like a dream that just started. Soon it'll be over. Once that becomes very clear to us, then we don't waste time with our pride and what I like and what I don't like and what I want to do and what I don't want to do. We have to feel that urgency of the call from our heart, which our egoic pride gets in the way of recognizing. Like the urgency should be, just give me that oxygen. I need that oxygen. I can't live without it. I can't breathe without it. Not, okay, now, my Guruji said, where is that oxygen from? Is it from the right hospital? Then it can't be. The worst thing probably that can happen to this one or anyone is to let go of this life with pride, with our pride intact. Because there is no greater poison to our spirituality than pride. And the thing with pride is nobody who's really proud knows that they are proud. So that is why grace is so important. And may grace bless us all with the recognition of our individual desire, our individual doership, my way. So all that I spoke about, the transparent, the unseen servant of God, one speck of pride gets in the way of that. Because that one will want to be seen, that one will want to be somebody. It just blocks you from living transparently as an instrument, as a servant of God. I'm loving what Kabir ji said. I'm repeating it in everything. बुरा जो देखन में चला बुरा ना मिला कोई तो देखा अपने आप को मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. I went looking for someone who was bad. I didn't find anyone who was bad. Except when I turned around and looked at myself. I realized that nobody is worse than me. It can sound scary, it can sound oppressive, and most likely it sounds as if it is not true. But this is one of the greatest sages to have ever lived anywhere, saying this about himself. And similar things have been said by Saint Teresa of Avila, Tulsidas ji, all the greatest sages. So what's going on? Is it low self-esteem? What's going on? Why are they saying things like this? They sound terrible. What's going on? You get a sense of this? So the first thing is that they're saying, I am the worst. Mujhse bura na koi, I am the worst. In what way are they saying that? And we don't have to rationalize it to ourselves. We don't have to make ourselves feel better about it. But it really deepens our insight. Because when we live in the presence more and more, then we start to see our foolishness, we start to see our moments of pride, we start to see how stupid we've been. And then this is what to expose that sounds like. So to remember that to leave justice to God, we are nobody to judge. Because is the worst one in the capacity to judge anyone? The same story that let the first one to throw the stone be the one who has not sinned. Who can throw the stone? It's the same thing that is being shared. Now the thing is that when we first heard these things in our life, we thought it's just a moral science lesson. It's just like a lesson in moral science, but actually it is the fundamental basis for true spirituality. It becomes the foundation of our spiritual life. So somebody attacks you, you can only say thank you, because what you're saying about me is actually much better than who I am, much better than how I actually am. Does that make you weak or strong? These are important contemplations. What does our pride want? Our desire for self-image. It wants us to be seen as better, holy, good. And this kind of deep introspection is very important for teachers of God or those who are sharing God's life. Very important to see how many times do we judge, how many times do we get angry, how many times do we take it upon ourselves to know right from wrong instead of allowing God to guide us. So my advice to anyone who wants to embark on the path of spirituality is to first become humble. Especially, this is my advice to myself, because I'm far from it. Far from it. If the greatest sages like Kabir Das ji, Saint Teresa, Tulsidas ji have said, and I still take myself to be something good sometimes. Isn't it arrogant to say that God doesn't know what to do with your life? God didn't know what He was doing for 50 years. Isn't it arrogant to say, I wasted 50 years of my life? Is it not proud arrogance to have a judgment about yourself, life, and God? I am the worst, I can say, if I knew better and still did it wrong. Don't make yourself smaller than what you truly are. Thank you. I'll look into that as well. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. We've gone far from the original question. It's all interlinked. Yes.
Another is Baba Kabir's doha. कबीरा तेरी झोपड़ी गल कटियन के पास, जो करेंगे सो भरेंगे, तू क्यों भय उदास.
Yes. So, it sounds like, I'm not an expert, but it sounds like to leave justice to God. Sometimes in our despair, then we can create a distance between ourselves and God. The world around us, they are like this. When will they face the fruit of their action? There's so much everywhere in all spirituality about this, no? That the frustrated one comes and prays and says, look at all these evil ones. They just led selfish lives and they seem to be so happy. So, what are you talking about? Surely it doesn't work like that. This lamentation, this despair can come. But I feel like all of us have experienced, I have definitely experienced that in that moment of pride, it's like my heart oxygen is cut off. Have you noticed? So even those, of course, they may face other fruits, but isn't this fruit enough? They may not realize it, but they realize not realizing it probably makes it worse for them. So let me expand on what I'm saying. Be proud for one moment. Huh? Don't actually, but you'll notice that your lifeline, his light is cut off from your heart. You see? Now, this happens to everyone. Isn't that punishment enough? I can't think of any higher punishment, better punishment than this, or bigger punishment than this. So that is itself enough. No, like to wish someone to lead an entire life of disconnection from God's presence, from His light, would be you would not want to do that to anyone. And yet so many of our brothers and sisters will lead their life this way, spend their life this way. And that is why all the sages keep pleading, keep imploring everyone, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is not it. Wake up. Why? Why do they do that? And when we get caught up in judging others, then we are cutting ourselves off. Judge someone and live in the light. So it's not healthy for us. So Kabirji is saying, leave that justice to God. God knows what needs to happen to anyone. You don't get involved in this. You be happy and content in your heart. These sound very simplistic, like moral science lessons, but they're very, very important in our life in service to God. And actually the highest life we can live. Are you all starting to get a sense of your heart compass? Just your heart's Is it moment to moment guidance? Is it? The more you turn inwards, the more clear it will become. Okay, let's go to Karunamai. She's got her hand up for a long time. While she's typing something, cut, 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 cut.
Hello, Father.
Hello, hello, my dear.
Thank you. Um,
Internet.
I think I need to explore some things, and I also want to thank you because I it's of great help to expose in front of you, and to see that some of the things that I expose they dissolve after. So thank you so much. Um, I and it's connected to what you shared a bit earlier, like the love for God or the love for physicality and for the physicality of Guru. Because I see there is an attachment to live close to Guruji in a way. And I also see his determination to point us to live in the heart, and just follow the pointings rather than his physical person. And he closed Sahaja, and Kisha said last time when she read the Psalms that the temples were closed for people to deepen in reading the Psalms, and somehow I felt this is what he's doing. Um, and I see in me this clinginess, like with the accommodation in the area, with all this situation about Colleen, if like the push, I guess, to take him to a school in Australia or something. I see it creates a lot of friction, I guess, especially in the family, to pose in something that uh, maybe sometimes we are not, and um, not to move necessarily in our natural way. And I observed this was present more here because we didn't have this issue in Yogiram Surat Kumar Ashram or in Bangalore at all. Um, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, and I don't have a complete analysis or anything like that. I did question myself, I guess, when I'm following both Guruji and yourself, if I'm doing something wrong and I'm not maybe capable to follow him completely in a way. And I also remember that you said if any of us would ever have to choose between you and Guruji, to choose him. But yeah, I'm not sure if I took that with my head. um, and there is a lack of maybe faith here. and maybe protection, which I blame. I don't blame the children, but I find an excuse in having children because probably it's much easier. Like if you're by yourself, you can live however you choose to. You need to, I guess, accommodate other needs as part of your living. So, yeah, there is some attachment to comfort and um, having, yeah, reasonable financial situation, I guess, or not financial. I'm not interested in a financial situation, but having a comfortable life, I guess. And I to be honest, he really provides for everything, and um, he didn't give me any indication at any point in time that I should worry about this. Even maybe I spend too much sometimes, or I spend money on frivolities, and we indulge in so much comfort, too much comfort. Um, and yeah, sometimes there is this indecision how to act. And I also want to share, I heard something in a Madhevaki Satsang last night, which touched me. She was saying, she was describing the situation where Bhagavan was not allowing her inside inside his temple, and she had to wait in the sun for 2 hours, and maybe at the end he would call her and would give his darshan and send her away. And she said that if you have this feeling of rejection, that the ego will make fuss out of it, and then it will not let you progress. And I was um, very touched by her sharing. She also shared that even staying in the sun for 2 hours was tapas, and that in time this flourished in being close servant of Bhagavan. And it was necessary to be like that. And yeah, she didn't, when she said these two sentences, and when she said, if you have this feeling of rejection, the ego is going to make something out of it and you will not progress. She didn't say progress. I think she used the Tamil word or something, because I couldn't understand, and I played that before many times. And in the end, I asked on this group what it was, and someone said it's about the spiritual progress. And yeah, after listening to that, I don't know, I had this strong experience last night that, yeah, of light and something being cleared. I don't know. Do you feel to share something with me?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing what you're saying. So the question always is, how can I be most of service to God in this situation? And I know that to be most in service to God in this particular moment would be to be most in service to you as well. So, what words can be spoken from here that can truly bring to light the fact that the only thing that we need to focus on, the need to completely make that central in our life, is the discipleship of the Atma, the discipleship of the Sadguru presence, the discipleship of the Holy Spirit. Is it? So, do you sense any different goal that you have for yourself other than this?
No, I sense that all this, what I'm sharing with you, is against my goal in a way.
Yes?
Like this preoccupation about physicalities and this concern about uh, rejection or uh, yeah, I sense it's a good exposure. Not that I'm proud that I'm exposing good. I'm a well presented exposure. It's good. I see these things and I feel they are against my objective. And when you ask this question, how do I serve God better? I actually thought you're asking me how I can serve God better. I was going to say I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
Just by learning to be here, but
yeah. So, every moment that you spend with the focus on Him, on praying to Him, on inquiring into the true nature of your reality, helps you build a stronger temple in your heart. And every moment you spend, or we can call it waste actually, on just thoughts about me, this preoccupation as you called it, then that is just not doing any true helpful building of spiritual wealth in your heart, but actually contaminating that in some way.
yeah,
So, faith means that we trust that it is God who lives in our heart, and God, whatever God does, is best for us, and He can do anything that He wants, and He is aware fully. To have that faith, you see, can seem like a risk because the preoccupation of the me comes only because we feel like God is not concerned. Can we be preoccupied with me if we knew fully that God is taking care?
no,
Cannot be, isn't it? Just like we are sitting on the most stable boat in the universe and we're still preoccupied with learning how to swim, then that is then that would be a waste of time, isn't it? So truly put yourself in God's boat and don't worry about swimming lessons for a few days. You see that, give yourself, you have to, we always make a deal whenever we meet. I don't know how that deal actually works out, but if you just allow yourself to just let go and allow God to move you, allow Him to guide you, then the mind's temptations of bringing the focus back to me and my life eh, will
yeah,
be easier to let go of. And you know that you can see for yourself that God is always taking care. He has
I,
always taken
yeah.
care.
I see that, and I see that in the most subtle levels, not about the physicality, like not that I have enough money and we have enough food and we have a house. I also see he imparts his love and light with me,
Yeah,
Not, yeah.
yeah.
And
So
the fact that I can feel him in my heart is just the most precious gift that you and Guruji could share with me. And
yeah. So spend all your time with that. or decide or tell me that once he takes care of it for the thousandth time, then I will leave everything to him. Which what is that mark that we need to hit
Say
before?
that again. Repeat that.
Like,
If it's with me
what is the
1,000, I will
what is
leave
the
everything.
mark? Like we say that the sun comes out from the east. It rises in the east. We say
Yeah,
that because we have noticed it. You see? So how many times do we need to notice it before we can conclude that yes, the sun does come from the east? You see, in the same way that God is
yeah.
taking care of everything, what is that number? What is that point at which we will say, yes, now I truly know that all that is needed is for me to be in his life, and then he is taking care of my life anyway. What is that point where you'll reach a point of faith where you will not have to worry about yourself anymore?
Yeah. The and I met him in this way once in Guruji's presence when there was very clear that there is nothing to worry about. So
Yes,
I don't know when it's going to be permanent, in a way.
yes. But what seems even rational to you? How many times should he have to prove himself before he becomes worthy of our full faith?
Rational, it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
I, Thank you.
Thank you. If you were to turn the tables, if you were to turn the tables, and so we are saying that actually hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of times, God is just taking care of the smallest, subtlest things in our life. You see? And yet we find it difficult to fully rely on Him, to have a full faith on Him. You see? And
Yeah.
after, if it was a worldly relationship between two people, when would one give up? When would I give up? When would you give up? Maybe the fifth time, or the 10th time, or the 20th time. See? So when it is said God is truly faithful, this is
Yeah.
what it means, that He has always been there, He's always taken care. Now it is time for us to accept that, to really surrender, to accept that we don't know, that we can't do, we have to rely on Him.
Amen. I accept, Father. I accept. Listen.
Very, 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 very.
I feel the mind kicking in and
Don't let it kick in. Kick it out.
kick it out, kick out.
Right.
I wanted to expose this more than.
Yes. But see, in this exposing, I've often
Yeah,
seen and I've heard this, I've heard these reports for a long time. Actually, it becomes an indirect way of sharing that this still has some value for us.
yeah, yeah. I was afraid when I say I surrender, I was afraid not to do it partially, because I also heard myself surrendering so many times.
Yeah. So now this tennis match, the tennis match between God and mind has to stop. Uh, yeah, make it all about Him. Otherwise, God is sending this, mind is sending that, God is sending this, mind is sending that. Then we are getting giddy looking at both the tennis players.
Yeah.
So don't make it a tennis match.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go to Kesha.
Hi, Father.
Hello, hello, my dear.
Um, every time I unmute myself and talk to you, my dogs go crazy, so I'm so sorry.
Maybe they want to talk as well.
I feel like something, I don't know. They want to be in satsang, I guess. So I wrote out something really long and then decided that I should just come up and
Ah,
instead,
yes.
even though I feel really bad coming up all the time, but that's fine. So with my uncle, this connection we've had and this new connection, and it all started with the urge of me wanting to get baptized. And he was a priest, he is a priest, and so I went to him to talk to him, and it was really beautiful, and his humility. And I just kept asking about God, 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 and he said he hadn't been asked these questions in so long, and that he had been going to church for 50 plus years, but he felt like he was finally focusing on God more. And he's like, not, he's going to die soon, he's very old. And so we've been meeting in like coffee shops and stuff and talking about God. And so this urge kind of came to start maybe meeting again, for the prayer group.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah. And so I created an invite for this, and we'll see. There's a couple of people who are interested,
Very good. Very
and it's not really in a humble way. It's kind of selfish in the sense that um, it just feels so good to meet and have it be to be able to talk about God and
Yeah.
to make it about God. And there's a little bit of selfishness in that because
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I don't know, I wanted to bring it up because you had also mentioned like being a hidden servant of God, and making this invite is not very hidden. And
Ah, yes, yeah. Yes, let me add to that a little bit. Let
yeah,
me clarify. So, it does seem, at least for the moment, that we have to use this body to express, to communicate His light, His presence, the possibility of leading a life devoted to God. You see? But what I mean by the unseen servant of God or the invisible instrument is that in the content of what is being shared, it must not be about, look at me, that I found, I did, you see, it shouldn't be like
Yes.
that. And if the I comes, then it must be more in sharing the recognition of what is still work in progress, what is still worked on, and in those ways to get them to see that we are more similar than different. So then that really helps in that sisterhood, that brotherhood of walking towards God collectively. So that is the core thing behind what I was saying, that it should not become that it should be that we gathered and we spoke about God, and it was beautiful in some way, and it was challenging in other ways, as it is bound to be. You see, but it should not be about, oh, but she said this and she is so good, or she is not so good, or
Yeah.
these kind of things. It should not become about who is sharing, who is uh, getting the limelight, the spotlight. It should never become about those things. That is what I
No,
meant.
no.
That's why I was saying that you go to a Hanuman temple, and if you came out just talking about the priest and you never say about Hanumanji, then that's not true spirituality.
To be honest, more and more with this, there is a really severe discomfort when somebody, when my uncle or whoever I'm talking to says anything nice about me, because and then there's an immediate like, no, but it's in you, it's you, like it's, you have to recognize this, and it's becoming more and more uncomfortable, like. And probably before I met you, there would have been something that would have really enjoyed that. But there's so much more joy when it's just purely about God, when we can talk together about God and be in God. And when I hear them speak about God and, to really make it about that, there's way more enjoyable.
Very, very, very.
And it is selfish because I want that. I want to
Yes,
just submerge in that with
that much is
people.
that much is
Huh?
allowed. That much is allowed.
Ooh.
Yes. Very good, very good, very good.
There's, can I also
Yes.
mention something? Maybe you can help with this. Like, I find this tendency of whenever wanting to do something kind or good, that I'll stop myself and say, "Oh, you're just doing it for because of pride," and then never doing it, and then not doing it at all. And I know that can be a trick sometimes.
Just, I feel the metaphor of the temple priest is a good one to help with these things. So just make sure that the offering back to the world is coming from his darshan, from his light, from his presence, and then don't let your mind get in the way, because your mind will also try to get in the way of that process very strongly.
Yeah. And there have
So
been
just
really
because
beautiful.
it says it is coming from pride doesn't mean that it is really coming from pride. You have to check
Exactly.
for yourself. You have to check for yourself.
Yes, that's where I need to check a lot.
All of us need to check constantly.
Yeah, may it be clear, and may whatever, may the unfolding be like for God truly, and may there be humility, but also like, this meetings for me, and yeah, and just to remember that Like just, yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah. Just,
Can't really be put in words. I can't really be put in words. So I know I have a sense of what you're saying. That it's a constant moment to moment job. And really use your prayer as your lifeline. Just constantly, unceasingly use your prayer. It really simplifies everything actually.
yeah, I definitely neglect it sometimes, and
Yes, constantly,
yeah,
as much as you can. And I was sharing, I don't know if I shared in the Zoom, but I noticed that when I'm working and things are just full on, there's so much happening all around me, and it seems like there's no attention, no focus possible to give to God. In those moments, when I just turn to Him and I pray, even if it is for a minute, you see, then He blesses me instantly. His presence, His light, so strong, you see, so alive. So He is much, much more merciful than just. You see? So He blesses us much more than we deserve. And I've seen that in my life so often. But I've also noticed that if I'm just like, nothing is really happening, there's a lot of space in life, and I'm being half-hearted about my prayer and being with Him, then that aliveness, that light, which I may notice after remembering Him for a moment in the middle of busy work, you see, then that doesn't come even if you are doing a lot of mechanical lip service type prayer. You see, so He knows
yes,
He's very beautiful that way. You can't trick Him, can't trick Him.
it's so true. It's so
So,
true. Yeah,
so it is our intention to be with Him which is important, and He knows very well that uh, He knows very well that what the life situation is, what is playing out in our lives. So we don't have to
yes,
we don't have to worry about
yeah.
that. As long as we're
This,
putting our best foot forward, we're taking one step towards Him, He'll take millions towards us.
this, Father, so true. Father,
Yeah.
the subtle trick is too that holding the hand of the ego, like you say, and while also praying, you
Yes, so
know.
that's what I mean by half-hearted,
Yeah,
just like that. And my
valuing
hope,
the story and praying.
yes, yes. And my hope and blessing is for all of you that you get so used to living in His light and presence and love that you don't like it any other way. You see? That you just don't like it any other way. That
Yeah,
none of you are trying to make hell seem manageable or palatable.
it's getting there.
That you're just so used to living in the holy waters of the Ganga in your heart. You get so used to diving into her holy presence all the time that you know instantly when you're getting disconnected, when you're being about yourself, about me. You see? So then that becomes a beautiful compass for us to be able to lead our life in this way. Then, then our discipleship is being lived in full earnest, and we are growing by leaps and bounds every day because just a moment of being in His presence wipes so many lives of pride and egotism away. So just maybe all keep dipping in, and not just dipping but remaining in His holy waters in our heart.
Yes. Yes. May it be so. May it be quicker and quicker. And
So just only gravitate towards your heart. Just gravitate towards His presence, His love. Just keep,
yeah.
even when it seems, especially when it seems difficult. That's why what I've been saying, that when it's palpable, when it's all sweetness and love, then it's really nothing for us to do. It's very easy. But when it seems very difficult, it seems sandy. You see, there's no honey, there's only sand all around us. It's a desert. You see, and the mind is convinced us that right now is not the time for God. We must focus on the me. We must be right about something. Then that is the time that if we can manage to turn.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm making it sound more dramatic than it is. You know, there are many moments where we're in the sand, but it feels like, okay, now it's all right. You know, you see, it's all right. Yeah, it's okay. We'll start in full earnest tomorrow. You see, like that. We can just, you know, have you all noticed like this? At least I noticed these things over here.
For
That
sure.
you know, after the body is very tired, for example, someone will come and say, it's okay now, today you just relax,
Just relax. Yeah.
just enjoy,
Just watch some
so
TV.
what some
Eat some good food. It's fine.
really not correct exactly, but and it makes it not so much about the activity itself, but really like, now don't focus on God,
Mm.
now you focus on the world, it's fine, you've done your bit. You see,
Mm.
those are the sandy times. You see,
Mm.
it doesn't have to be always that, you see, there's some trouble and if you're choking your throat, those are easier to turn back to God actually. We are quick to rush back to God when we're in trouble. But when the mind just says, okay, now enough, you see, enough. You see, now you can just enjoy the world and take yourself to be you. It doesn't say those words, of course, but that temptation comes. And then I find very helpful to switch to a bhajan, to some devotional songs, some devotional music. You see, I just return with full full light to the japa, to the chanting, to the prayer, or just to ask, you see, who am I? Who am I? You see, so it's very good. You see, it's very good to see that, and not just given when the mind says, just relax, you know, just. Yeah, that
Yes.
just relax is not just relaxing, because when we are fully relaxed, we are in God's presence. That is the
Yeah.
most relaxed that we are. So it finds a way to make this sort of stressful outside place seem like it's relaxed, you see, and finds a way to make this more difficult, more troublesome. You see? So it's very upside down. So we must notice these times and just, if you're feeling too tired to pray, to inquire, just put on something devotional, something that reminds you of God.
Yeah.
You know,
This
this.
morning, that was the case. Like that, I was thinking of you. Well, I mean, I always think of you, but this morning, I was praying and sitting and just not really connected, to the heart and to God's heart. And I kept praying and sitting. And then normally I would just keep doing this, and just kind of just pray and offer that to God. But I thought, okay, just put on a song, just put on a song, something simple like don't overthink it, just put on a devotional song. So I put on a song about Christ, and it's just immediate, like just like that, go through all of the Rolodex of
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
You see, because music itself, like nobody, no human has ever understood what music actually is, because it is more than human. You see, it's something. There's something there And when that music is mixed with the remembrance of God Himself, you see, which is what I'm feeling more and more that music was designed for, to bring us to God when it seems difficult to connect to Him. I'm sensing it more and more that that was the origin of music itself. You see, that it connects to something which is out of this world, because it's not intellectual to understand music, you see, to feel it in our heart. So it's a great gift. So bhajans, hymns, whatever connects us to God. It's very, very beautiful. So like this, then those difficult times, then with all the tools that God has blessed us with, you see, then they seem to be easier to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. But normally I would go with the same tools, you know. And this
Yeah,
morning I went with that one that I don't normally go with.
yeah, very good.
So it's good to remember all of them. Mhm. Even the ones you're least likely to choose can be
Yeah,
the best.
yeah. Yes, and it does happen, no? That when you want to switch to a bhajan, the mind is saying, no, just waste time with something. When you're switching to the bhajan, it cringes. You sense the mind's cringing for a moment or two. Doesn't want you to switch into God mode again. I wonder if all of you also are noticing some of these things. So, or am I the only foolish one left? Still
No.
in the kindergarten of spirituality.
Mm-mm.
Yes, just the intention to turn to God's presence, the focus to make it about Him. I have to share this beautiful conversation, and I don't know if I shared this before, but this message kept coming to me from various sides, and really, it's so beautiful to understand that just our intention to be with Him is as good as our being with Him. Okay? It just makes things a lot easier. The feeling that I want to turn to you is as good as being with Him. So, Swami Ram Sukdas ji said in a satsang that if when we find it difficult, like these moments that we were talking about, if we just turn to Him and say, I'll say in Hindi first and then translate कि हमसे नहीं हो रहा है नाथ तुम ही करो आप ही करो, which means that I am not able to do this, Father or God or Lord, you only do it. Even that is enough. That is good enough for that moment. It's as good as being with Him. So isn't this amazing that what really matters is where our focus is, not whether the outcome of His love, His light, His presence is being
Yes.
tasted, but just that
Yes.
being
Yes.
turning towards Him with that intention of being with Him.
Yes.
We don't have to quote unquote succeed at it because just the turning is the success.
Yes. I hear you.
Very good.
I
So it
hear
doesn't
you.
matter. Uh, it matters in terms of taste, of course. It matters in terms of being able to say, "I taste His presence." But really, it doesn't matter whether we turn towards our heart altar and we came across His light, or we found it empty. We didn't find anything there. What is important is the turning.
Yes.
Doesn't that make things so much simpler?
So right.
And for us to just keep everything about him, make him the center of everything, and not worry about the outcomes, the taste. Yeah, of course, it's very beautiful and
Yes.
very reassuring and very anchoring for that taste to be there. But what to do when that taste is not there? And in a way, this is also like Shiv's question, see, that we can get into this situation of beating ourselves up. You can see, why is it not happening? I must be doing something wrong, something like that. But we don't have to go down that road. Just to know, we know in our heart when what is it that we really want in this moment. You see, we know that.
Yes.
We can't hide that from ourselves. So if we really want Him and we really want ourselves to belong to Him in that moment, then we don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah. Even the longing and the intention to be with him, and that longing sometimes feels it's really nice too, just as beautiful as being with him.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
Yeah.
If there is a competition between how his longing feels and his presence feels, I don't know who would win.
No
But
idea.
I can't really say that the longing wins, but I can't really say that his presence wins.
Exactly. Yeah.
The good news is that we don't have to determine what is better.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Very good, very good.
Thank
Bless,
you.
bless, bless.
Bless you, Father.
Thank
Bless you too.
you. Okay, let's go to Divan and then we start chanting.
Hi, Master.
Namaste. Hello, my dear.
Thank you. Um, Master, I just want to like ask for your blessings, for like that when I encounter someone and they have like a thirst for God
Yeah,
in them, like to completely be empty of me, like completely as much as I can. Although it's very tempting to be to be an instrument of the spirit and not to let like the pride of knowledge or like because it's so subtle these things,
yeah,
and I'm always grateful for you because you're able to like expose these things in just like a few words. You just shed a light in them, and because like this week I've had this thing where I'm like walking and the presence is so like it's like it's felt very powerfully, and where there's just this witness and this vastness is just there. And there was one time I was working, I was on Monday, and this lady just came to me and she like, but it's one of this like Christian lady.
yeah,
Um, she's actually like in like yeah, she's like in third year or something of university, but and she asked me like, "Are you a Christian?" This, because I really this is something that's been very difficult for me to answer because I don't know how to answer that because through you and it's like you just pulled me out of you took me like the universality of God.
yeah,
So something is no longer like localized or because it's not personal. It's like it's personal in like the relationship, but the essence is not personal. And so but it's very difficult to convey this with like words to especially when the reality of personhood or like the sense of just being like physical is so real for like when like this like scene has not happened. But I also know that it's not by mistake that these encounters do happen. But I really like pray that when these conversations are being taken, because you always see like there's something that so like I try as much as I can to then like you say to abide in the altar of God and to remain in emptiness and in just this pure neutral. There's some like especially when you're being asked like a question, like what do you mean you love Jesus and or you speak about Christ, but you're not because something is no more in conditioning. So the it's like some there's this thing, although it's very correct, like a right statement, but it's not necessarily what is needed to be spoken, like at that time to that. And it's something that I'm really like I just feel like constantly praying, and this is why I'm really grateful for you because you always like somehow reveal that of always constantly turning towards God because it's like so subtle. Like knowledge can be very subtle in its manifestation. And yesterday as well, someone asked me because they asked me about God and I spoke and they were touched, but they thought I was a Christian. But because in that because somehow in after I met you, it's like something just changed in the way like everything was seen. Because what happened was that because before meeting you when I met for Muji, like the presence was felt. It was always felt and but there was always something that was like coming and going, like always like coming and going. Um but the recognition of like pure awareness had not happened yet. Where I was just mostly like in the presence. But through it's like you like push me to abide and to have faith and you showed me that if like you just showed me that I could just be true to God and to be honest as much as I could and to try and that if my intention was really for God, that I was going to take care of everything. And it happened so quickly and so although like there was no like sense of wanting to do anything outwardly, but it was so like it was very like a precious like most important time that's ever happened. And somehow by the grace of God, spontaneously, like the reality of what is was seen. And I don't think there's any higher like recognition than this. But still, this when you're speaking to like someone who they have a sense of God, and it's like it's you cannot speak from like knowledge because
Yeah.
they will not be able to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And my prayer is that I should be able to, in those moments when asked like questions, to really turn towards Him and not to care even if I sound foolish or like silly, but to just speak because you never know how God works. And I just really ask for your blessings for this. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Very good. It's it's not easy in the world to express these things because the world is used to dividing, categorizing, you see, making conclusions. It's not easy. The question I would have really to any Christian is that if I say that I am a disciple of the Holy Spirit, you see, is it possible that I could not be a Christian? You see, or I would ask any Hindu, is that if I am a disciple of the Atma within, my life, or I'm trying to be a disciple of the Atma within, my life is devoted to that, can any Hindu say that I am not a Hindu? See? If I am trying to learn from Allah's presence in my heart, can any Muslim say that I am not a Muslim? Or can any Sikh who, if my life is dedicated to the Sadguru, the Vaheguru presence in my heart, then can any Sikh say that I am not a Sikh? So I don't know what else it means to be a Hindu, a Muslim, a Sikh, a Christian. But if it means any of this, then I'm all of them, and they're all really the same at their core, at their center. You see? Now, how will that get expressed to the various ones that we meet in our lives? That I don't know. That we'll have to be guided moment to moment by His light to put the right words in our mouths. But we must not, and not that you are, I don't feel like you are at all confused about this, but none of us should ever be confused about this. What are all the religions pointing to? Every true religion, every true culture, every true tradition which is spiritual is pointing to this. So don't confuse yourselves, don't label yourselves strongly, don't categorize yourself. Just know that the true teacher is God's presence and He is in your heart. And as long as you follow that one, He is leading you on the true path. So sometimes when this question is asked here, I say I follow all religions. I follow all religions. I may not know as much about some, and I may know a little bit more about some, but I feel like I follow all religions. I have reverence for all religions in my heart. And sometimes I may say, I don't know. I don't know what to answer for that. But I don't find it like if I would find it much easier to say I am a Christian than to say I am not a Christian. Or I would find it much easier to say I am a Hindu than say I am not a Hindu. Or I am a Muslim than say I am not a Muslim. I feel I am. Wherever there is love for God, I feel I'm happy to consider myself there. You see, I am a Sufi. I don't know anything about Sufi. My daughter keeps teaching me a little bit, but I feel I am a Sufi because there's love for God there. Wherever there's love for God, I feel is my family. And it may be the most religious gathering, but it is not about God, and I don't feel like I belong. It is just like that. But how to explain these things in the world, I don't know. Right? It's tough. So if you feel that you can serve God, you can bring someone, help someone, or it may be helpful to you as well, an interaction, and you feel that your heart is guiding you to say that yes, I am a Christian, then we must not let any condition block us even from that.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to really bring, because it's something that, because of this, the mind is always to the, like, to make something like that, like, because it has like the fragrance of like personal in it. But it's like, because the Holy Spirit is pure, it's like it doesn't have really like this sort of conditioning, or it's so pure and loving and like beyond, like, no, there's no fragmentation in it. It's just, and you reveal this in my heart. So
Eric, bless you so much, so much, Eric. Okay, let's go to Samia.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear.
Hello. I'm sorry, my connection is not so good, but is it okay so far?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just seems like since I just a decision in my heart, not a decision, but just a recognition actually in the same spot
Yes.
where I was in the previous satsang. Like I just wanted to stop, just have a rest and just stop, you know. I just realized that I'm just going here and there and always in gear, and
Yeah.
somehow the satsang I just found rest and just stopped doing nothing, and I just remember that feeling of doing nothing, and it was, I don't know, it was like a prayer or just decision in my heart, and of course after it became so clear, just Maya immediately.
Very, very good. Why I'm saying very good is because it is so beautiful to recognize that God's presence gives us so many gifts: love, guidance, so many gifts. But one of the best gifts we get from God is rest, the ability to just become still, to pause. So, if you're finding that restfulness, don't worry, even if it feels like it goes away sometimes, but it'll come back once you start getting the taste of this. There's too much interference coming. We just mute for a moment and then we'll come back. So, I was saying that a life without rest actually is very, very difficult. You see, we've seen those because of stress, because of anxiety, because of so many different things, are not able to find rest. But what happens in the human condition often is that we forget the source of this rest. You see? We forget, of course, the source of sleep itself. How does sleep happen? Nobody can really make themselves sleep. You see? But even rest in the waking state, to be restful, to be comfortable, to be peaceful, are all gifts of the Atma within, of the Holy Spirit in the heart. And to meet that is so beautiful. So I'm glad you're reporting like this, that in the last satsang, you noticed that so clearly, that he makes you so restful. And don't worry, once you start getting used to his taste, his presence, then it's not going anywhere. As long as you keep returning to him, his gifts are not far from him. So just make it about him and his gifts will come. The danger, of course, always is that it is possible for us to enjoy the sweetness as a gift, the loving feeling as a gift, the restfulness as a gift. It is very possible for us to, uh, for the mind to get us to turn and make it about the gifts rather than Him. So all you have to do is just make it about Him, then His gifts are bound to follow. And there is no greater intelligence than Him. So He knows exactly what gift is needed at what point. So we don't have to worry about any of that. Just God, God, God. The rest He'll take care of.
um, Yes, I mean is that like immediately Maya started to throw things, you know,
Yeah.
and as I just feel that I want to stop and have rest, and I'm sorry, but it feels like somehow exam started, Father. So hope it's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Should I talk or you want to listen? Like how you hear me?
It is because we don't hear so clearly today. There's a lot of interference in the sound. And therefore, we can't really make out the sound of the azan very clearly. It's
Can you
didn't get
can
that.
you
Right?
hear
Can
me?
you repeat? Yes, now we can. Now,
Okay, I'm sorry, my connection is not good.
yeah. I was saying that we would have definitely paused to hear the beautiful prayer, but because we don't hear it so well, it's hardly audible. We just we can just hear your question if you want.
Okay. Um, I don't know if I have a question, Father, but I don't know. I feel like I want to bring something to you, but I don't know exactly what it is. And but I just want to also I just want to stop,
Yeah, yeah,
and so in outer life,
yeah,
in outer life means I don't feel it's separate from how my mind is, you know, always in gear, cannot stop really,
yes,
just
yeah,
always thinking, but I'm tired, I'm exhausted really. I mean, yes.
yeah. I just want to tell you that I feel you're doing well, and it is not always going to be easy. The struggles will come for all of us, but just with our faith, we hold on strongly to what you're finding, so clearly finding in your heart. So don't allow Maya, like you very rightly said, to pull you into its force field. You try to run back to the force field of God's light, and you're doing very well. You don't have to worry. These things will come up and down. These things will come. Just keep returning to God. You'll be fine. Oh, you're on mute now?
Um, I don't know how to bring it. I'm not sure. And because I became so mindy about this and I don't want to, but I'm just this mind is sometimes just so full with past and stories, especially with my mother. But I don't really want to touch it. But yeah, sometimes I just triggered a lot, as you know. And it's maybe a little bit related with rest, Father, because
Yeah, yeah,
restlessness is just so much connected with her. And I don't know, maybe I want to give a break, maybe not with her, but what is her in my mind, but maybe just the restlessness. She represents restlessness maybe
Yeah.
for me, but I want to give a break with this, whatever she represents. Maybe not in truth, but whatever she represents in my life, I just want a break from this.
I bless you. I bless you. I'm noticing that in every life there are some relationships, you see, some relationships which cause a lot of trouble, but they're very important because they really squeeze our pride. They really squeeze our pride. They really squeeze whatever we've taken ourselves to be. And also, it doesn't allow us to live the way we want. Huh? It doesn't allow us to live the way we want. And that can seem very uncomfortable and tricky. But that's actually very important because if we just found a way to live the way we wanted, we would not rely on God for everything. So in everyone who is spiritual, I've seen that there are one or two relationships that just don't allow us to live the way we want. And that can seem like so difficult to manage, and people want to run away to caves and forests and all of those things sometimes because of that. But it's very important because we learn to rely so much on God in those situations. I know it seems difficult, my child. I know it does. But you see how it goes.
Speak more because it's just so sticky and mindy. I don't want to go in that,
Yeah,
but it, that much feels very
yeah,
released.
yeah. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah. That which often seems the most difficult in our life has played an important role in turning us towards God.
But still, I just want
Yeah,
to, because as you just witness, and also I witnessed in my life that just 1 month, I don't know how was this, but it was just too much with God,
yeah,
and just for the sake of being with Him, I just want to ask that may everything be, I don't know. I just want to ask for, no, I cannot ask. I don't know, Father. Okay, I just want to continue to be with Him, this is the
yeah,
prayer. I just want to continue to deepen. I don't want anything to
yeah.
cut me from this or even feel me like cutting from this. I mean, yes,
Very good. Very
I and I don't want anything to interfere this or interrupt this. Like I don't have space for this anymore, Father.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, if anything needs to happen in outer condition which can help me to deepen in this, I ask for this from God.
Very good. Very good. Okay, thank you. I don't know if we'll have time to read today, but let's go back to Karunamai.
Father, I feel to ask you a blessing for Samia's mother as well.
Yeah.
And maybe we bless all the mothers in the world to be good mothers and raise good children in the Spirit of God. Thank you so much.
Father, please repeat the last part again for us after the conversation with Samia. It was just so important to hear. I have no idea. The relationships one? I don't know what I'm saying. The relationships one, I just feel like, how many of us feel like there are one or two special relationships in our life which just don't let us live exactly how we would have wanted to? Yeah, all of us do, isn't it? So that's a great help. That's a great help. Because if we could just be exactly how we want, then we will not give up our ego for God. We will not become like helpless children relying just on Him. Of course, it's difficult to accept when those situations are on. Okay? It's difficult to accept. But if we look clearly from our heart, we'll see that it's so good. Okay, let's go to Helena.
Namaste,
Hello,
Ananta-ji.
namaste, my dear.
Can you hear me well, or shall I?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, otherwise I have to
No,
disconnect the earrings.
it's good.
I'll try to make it short because it's
No,
so
it's
late already.
okay.
I just wanted to come to you because, as you know, I went to Monte Sahaja last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes. And as you in this satsang, you talked also about this heart guidance, and I felt it so strongly there. It was so easy.
Yeah.
I really felt like a child taken by the hand and always brought on the right spot, or even without me thinking about it.
Yeah.
So being back home, it's more difficult to find that, to hear that,
Yeah.
to hear that voice and to feel inside which direction to take.
Yeah.
Although I fully wish to live like that.
Very
Being here, there is this habit of making to-do lists which occupy the mind. While if I'm honest, there are no really urgent matters. Everything can wait.
Yeah.
But still, that is this habit, and I would really wish to put that down and to just be fully guided, as I felt in Sahaja, because I just saw so clearly there that I don't know nothing, and I don't need to know nothing, because God always knows best.
Yeah.
And I really try to go inside many times and a day, and do this exercise that Muji gave to be quiet and detach from any thoughts. But it And in your conversation with Kisha, I recall from that I could also sing, and that also blanks out the mind. Yeah.
You can see.
So, but it feels like I need to do more effort being here. It back there, it was so easily flowing.
Yes, of course, of course. That's the beauty of going to any holy place, that it seems so easy to be in His presence. But it's also very beautiful because it reminds us of our capacity to be like that. You see, the possibility to be like that. So, yes, it is more difficult usually when we are by ourselves. But all the tools are with you, and like we said, even devotional songs are very helpful. Your prayer, your inquiry, everything. It is more difficult, my dear. We can't help.
Yeah.
We can't change that here. To accept
Well, you
that.
said also, sorry,
No,
you also
please.
in a previous satsang you also said something like that we can make this choice to never leave God, no matter what. To say, so I want to live like that.
Yes, yes, yes. When it's difficult, then we must make it even more strongly. That's exactly what I mean when I say that what's more important is what we do in the sand than what we do in the honey. Because when we are in the honey, then it all seems so natural and it feels easy that we can live like this. But to make the choice for God, to make the choice for surrender to our heart, when it seems difficult, is much more important.
Yes. Just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's very important to remember this.
Love you.
You
Thank you.
too. Okay. Maybe we can just sing the Aarti and close for today. Harmony wants to come. Okay. Oh, where did he go? He's jumping up and down on my screen. There you
Thank you, Father. Can you hear me?
Yes, my dear, I can.
Okay. Yeah. I'm actually right now at work, but I've been noticing like a couple of times I'm sorry, some music started playing?
No. Not for us.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You didn't play for us.
That's my fault. Yeah. I don't know. I feel I am doing the best as I can, as you told me, to inquire, to pray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good. If we can truly report this about ourselves, that we are doing the best that we can, that's it. That's more than enough. Because God knows this.
But I have to expose something, if I can. I can see, and please correct me, but I can see like there is and maybe I share this. There is a resistance, and I remember we spoke about it in the satsang. There is a resistance to pray sometimes, and like that's funny. I'm saying that, then I saying I'm doing the best, but because like I seen like the only trouble is like when we start believing we are the ego, like and I don't know. I feel I can see the mind, and then I feel like I start praying for the little me.
You start praying for the little me. Yeah. But as long as you're praying to God, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because okay.
As long as we
Yeah.
focus on Him and we ask Him for help, then it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. Just keep going. It's good. It's not always easy, but I'm very happy if you can say, because we know for ourselves, you can say that it's difficult. There's so much resistance that comes, and yet I feel like I'm doing my best. It's very good. It's very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
And I started with new work, and it's kind of like I don't know if I'm like seeing how to be guided, if it's distracting me or not. Like it's kind of yeah I don't know. It's like kind of do need the money, but in the end I don't want to be pressured by the mind that I need some like that. And then there is also like the intention, like if there was any chance to go to Bangalore to Sahaja, but that's like kind of, it can be also very mental. It can be like out of my will. So it's like this whole like shebang, and just like little bit seeing if this new work is distracting or not.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't worry. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you so much. And we have a gathering this weekend, beautiful Czech Sangha gathering. If you can please bless it, that
I
flows the most
see.
beautifully.
What is the
Like
Sangha? What is it called?
Czechoslovakian. We are like Czech and
Czech
Slovaks, but
Sangha.
we are
Czech and Slovak. I see, the former Czechoslovakia.
yes.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
I just realized that Czech and Slovak is from Czechoslovakia. Did you all know that? Now it seems logical, of course. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lovely.
Okay, we just sing the Aarti and close for today.
जय जय सुरनायक जन सुखदायक प्रणतपाल भगवन्ता गोद्विज हितकारी जय सुरारी सिन्धुसुता प्रियकन्ता पालन सुरधरनी अद्भुत करनी मरम न जानई कोई जो सहज कृपाला दीन दयाला करऊ अनुग्रह सोई करऊ अनुग्रह सोई जय जय अविनाशी सब घटवासी परमानंदा अभिगत गोतीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंद जेहि लागी बिरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निशिबासर ध्यावहि गुण गण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा जेहि सृष्टि उपाई त्रिविध बनाई संग सहाय न दूजा सो करऊ अघारी चिंता हमारी जानिय भगति न पूजा जो भव भय भंजन मुनि मन रंजन गंजन विपति बरूथा मन बच क्रम बानी छाड़ी सयानी सरन सकल सुर जूथा सरन सकल सुर जूथा सारद श्रुति शेषा ऋषय अशेषा जा कहूँ कोई न जाना पियारे वेद पुकारे द्रवउ सो श्री भगवाना भव बारिधि मंदर सब विधि सुंदर गुण मंदिर सुख पुंजा मुनि सिद्ध सकल सुर परम भयातुर नमत नाथ पद कंजा नमत नाथ पद कंजा जय जय अविनाशी सब घटवासी व्यापक परमानंदा अभिगत गोतीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि लागी बिरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निशिबासर ध्यावहि गुण गण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा